Today, the world meets the moment. And if we follow through on the commitments that this Paris Agreement embodies, history may well judge it as a turning point for our planet.
October 5th, 2016. President Obama announces the Paris Agreement will soon take effect as America joins the international efforts to tackle climate change.
President Obama and his administration made enormous progress over 8 years in pivoting the U.S. towards a clean energy future.
But days after the Paris Agreement was enacted on November 4th, Donald Trump was elected President of the United States. He has a long history of either denying climate change or downplaying its effects.
Our president is worried about global warming. What a ridiculous situation.
But the science tells a different story.
The basic physics have been understood since the 19th century, and the scientific community for decades has understood that humans are the primary driver of this warming.
And most people agree. A 2016 study by Yale University found 70% of Americans believe climate change is real, but only half of those surveyed think they will be personally affected by climate change.
Within the U.S., if we see more sea level rise, something like 6 feet, which could happen, we could see 6 million people in the coastal zones experiencing flooding. We're also seeing more frequent heat waves. Heat waves are the leading killer in the typical year in the U.S. As average temperatures go up just 1 or 2 degrees, heat waves could become 3 times as common, and that kills thousands of people.
Despite the scientific consensus, Scott Pruitt, the new head of the Environmental Protection Agency, has downplayed the role of carbon dioxide in causing climate change.
Do you believe that it's been proven that CO2 is the primary control knob for climate?
Human activity on the climate is something very challenging to do, and there's tremendous disagreement about the degree of impact. So no, I would not agree that it's a primary contributor to the global warming that we see.
During his time as Oklahoma Attorney General, Pruitt enjoyed a cozy relationship with the oil and gas industry. An email to Pruitt's office in 2013 came from the conservative advocacy group funded by the Koch brothers. It thanked Pruitt for pushing back against President Obama's EPA and liberal environmental groups.
You've got somebody as the EPA administrator who sued the EPA 14 times, and each time did that hand in hand with the polluters he was charged with regulating in his role as Attorney General in Oklahoma. Polluters who then went back and paid him, made donations to his campaign.
Soon after Pruitt's appointment, Trump's America First budget slashed the EPA's funding by 31%.
As to climate change, I think the president was fairly straightforward. We're not spending money on that anymore. We consider that to be a waste of your money.
In the days that followed, Trump signed an executive order to begin repealing the Clean Power Plan, paving the way for the removal of carbon emission limits on power plants.
I am taking historic steps to lift the restrictions on American energy, to reverse government intrusion, and to cancel job-killing regulations.
The fear now is that America may struggle to ever recover the ability to enact meaningful climate change legislation.
The more lasting concern is that this administration wants not just to stall progress that we've already made, but to cripple the EPA so it couldn't return after the Trump administration.
But the administration isn't just halting the fight against climate change at home. The America First budget will also stop payments to the United Nations Green Climate Fund. Now, the president is said to be considering withdrawing from the Paris Agreement. Without America's participation, its power is severely weakened.
Because the reductions that are needed are so dramatic, every country has to be on board. When we see the basic science being undermined, it's especially important to help people understand. It's urgent that we reduce emissions dramatically.
The most important thing is talk to your representatives, talk to your congressmen, talk to your senators, talk to state and local leaders, talk to President Trump if you see him. Tell them the importance of protecting our clean air and clean water and the importance of protecting the security and the safety of our planet for future generations and acting now on climate.
Today, the world meets the moment. History may well judge it as a turning point for our planet.